Senator Kiggins, Senator Hashmi, Senator Bell, Senator Reeves, Senator Sproul.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. First one we have Dr. Chuck Peterson.
Yes, sir.
Town of Vienna.
Town of Vienna.
All right.
And, this is Senate Bill 377. Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee. Town of Vienna, as you probably know from my previous testimony, was a spring election community. They also had staggered elections, so they would put basically half the council up one year and then the other half the council would be up the other year. What we've decided to do, and they wanted to go back to spring elections. Doesn't look like that's in the cards. So I sat down with them and said, let's come up with Plan B. And this is basically Plan B. This would change their charter such that basically their next general election would be in November 2023. And then from that point, and then they'd have to basically have sort of a transition period where they get everybody on the same page. And then from 2025 forward, basically everybody will run together. So effectively what will happen is they will run together on the off years. So they will not be in the federal cycle, which everybody agreed would have been a mistake. It's a nonpartisan position. And so this would kind of get them to where they want to go. So they've had a public hearing. This has been unanimously approved. That's it.
Proper movement, second report. Call the roll, please.
Senator Kiggins, Senator Hashmi, Senator Bell, Senator Bell, Senator Reeves.
Senator Bell's online.
Copy that. Senator,
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir. How do you vote on SB 377?
I vote aye.
Senator Reeves? Aye. Senator Sproul?
Aye.
Ayes 4, no 0.
You got Kiggins here.
Thank you, guys.
Senator Kiggins, SB 377, how do you vote? Aye. Ayes 5, no 0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your courtesy.
Thank you, sir. All right. Who is next?
Beyond.
Yeah, exactly.
Beyond.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. So this bill would, Senate Bill 589.
Which bill are you talking about?
589.
589.
Right, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. This bill would revoke the charter for the town of St. Charles, which comes on behalf of Lee County and the 77 residents of St. Charles. The last active council term ended on June 30th, 2016, and has been vacant since. The 2016 election yielded only 7 to 8 write-in votes, and those were never sworn in. The 2018 and 20 election had no candidates on the ballot, and no voters showed up at the polls. Despite the lack of participation, the county still has to hold the election at the expense of the taxpayers, so no town services are rendered with no staff and no elected officials.
How many people live in that town?
77,
Is this the nail in the coffin to get rid of the town, pretty much?
unfortunately.
Mr. Chairman,
You want to kill a cow? You want to kill it?
not me, it's his bill.
Nobody wants to kill it, Mr. Chairman, but unfortunately, they don't want to pay for an election either.
Do I have a second, please? Proper move and second. This harmful bill, bless your heart. Call the roll, please.
Senator Kiggins, Senator Hashmi, Senator Bell,
Aye.
Senator Reeves,
Aye.
Senator Sproul.
Aye.
Ayes 5, no 0.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
My friend, come on up.
St. Charles, beyond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. It's Senate Bill 627. Ready?
Sir.
So this is a Town of Tazewell charter change request. When they were looking through their codes and trying to make everything uniform, the Town Code section and the Virginia Code section states that the Board of Zoning Appeals term is 5 years. However, the current town charter states the term is 2 years. So the Planning Commission and the Town Council voted unanimously to make the changes to correspond with both the Town Code and the Virginia Code to make the term in the charter 5 years instead of 2 years. That's it.
Do you have anybody in the chat want to talk about it?
If anyone in the Zoom room would like to speak to this bill, please raise your hand electronically now. There are none at this time, Mr. Chair.
Any comments from the members? Motion?
Move to report.
Call roll, please.
Senator Kiggins? Senator Hashmi? Senator Bell?
Aye.
Senator Reeves? Senator Sproul?
Aye.
Ayes 5, no 0.
All right, thank you so much. Honorable sir, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
All I said was, honorable sir, you got up and start walking. Honorable sir, that's all I have. All I said was, honorable sir. Oh, bless your heart.
Senate Bill 699, Mr.
699.
Chairman, members of the committee, revises the charter for the city of Waynesboro. It's pretty straightforward. They want to have their elections. They have 4 wards, so they'll have 4 members elected in each ward, and then 1 member elected citywide for 5 members. That member will then become the mayor. It also does the important thing that you want done, change the elections from May to November. And then appointed officers of the town will then have 2-year terms instead of 1-year terms. I believe that picks up all the changes.
All right. Any comments from members on the committee? Anybody in the audience want to have comments? Anybody in the chat?
If there's anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak to this bill, please raise your hand electronically now. There are none at this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Motion?
Move to report.
All right, properly moved and seconded to move the report, please call the roll.
Senator Kiggins? Senator Hashmi? Senator Bell?
Aye.
Senator Reeves? Senator Sproul?
Aye.
Ayes 5, no 0.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
I'm supposed to carry for Senator Matduga that I don't have it, but he asked me to carry his bill for him, the Senate Bill 387. Brother Reed, please read that for me, please.
Mr. Chairman, 387 just takes the mayor or any other 3. It had 4 in there. I know I know this section, Port Royal, is a very, very small town, and part of their challenge is just finding members to serve. So that just strikes number 4 and puts in 3 members of the council to help allow them the opportunity to have members to serve still.
Say anything about May, November?
Mr. Chairman, it had 7 members down to 5 members elected at large, and then it's going every 2 years, so that would fall in line with what we're trying to do with, it's already been changed once.
All right. Anyone in the audience want to speak?
If there's anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak now, can you raise your hand electronically? If there's anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak, please raise your hand electronically. Sir, there are no members in the Zoom room.
Anyone in the audience want to speak? Members of the committee? Not.
Report, Mr. Chairman.
Proper move to have a second? Call the roll, please.
Senator Kiggins. Senator Hashmi. Senator Bell.
Aye.
Senator Reeves. Senator Sproul.
Aye.
Ayes 5, no 0.
Thank you. We got a bill from Senator Lucas. I'm going to do that one for Senate Bill 523. Yes, sir. Don't worry about it. We'll take care for her. Oh, I'm sorry. Sir,
Good morning. I'm Burl Stromberg, interim city attorney of Portsmouth. And
Portsmouth,
here to
okay.
speak on the bill.
let me start it off and I'll call you up.
Okay.
All right, fine. Senate Bill 523. Say the City of Portsmouth recall of elective officers. Make various changes to the City of Portsmouth process for recall for an elected officer, including applying provision to an officer who has been appointed to fill the elected office, making the law apply immediately rather than 1 year from the beginning of a term. What else it says here? Come on up, sir, and tell me what this bill does.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Burl Stromberg. I'm interim city attorney in the city of Portsmouth. This bill makes our city
Excuse me. Let let this officer know that she does not have to come. Let her know that. Let them know they don't have to come.
Presently, Chairman, the charter provision 12.09 of the Portsmouth City Charter allows a petition signed by just 30% of the electors who voted in the last gubernatorial election to file a petition in circuit court to have a council member or other city officer removed. But no specific grounds are required. It's very general in nature. Our city council wanted to line it up more with the state code, which does require specific grounds in order to recall a council person. And this amendment does that. It talks about, just like the state code does, neglect of duty, misuse of office, or incompetence in performance of duties. Also, conviction of misdemeanor if it affects the job, only if it affects the job. It also adds a provision for the a judge to review the grounds before the judge could review whether the petition was satisfactory. But again, now with adding grounds to the recall, it allows the judge to review that just like the state code does. We've had several recalls in Portsmouth, and City Council wanted to put a stop to it. It's a very, very permissive charter section that had gotten out of control. We've had 4 recalls, attempted recalls in Portsmouth in the last 30 years or so, and the threat of it changes the politics. So council unanimously passed is asking you to make these changes, which is consistent with, again, the state law. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry. Just a quick question about, so you said that this bill makes the city charter conform to the state code.
Yes, ma'am.
So this most recent, just aware of the more recent recall attempts, were those, do we have to enact state code in those cases? So that's what we've been using. So this just kind of codifies it at the local level?
Yes, it puts it in conformity with the local level. And it would only apply to city officials. We did have a recall recently of a state senator
Right.
That would have come under a different code section, or they used a different code section, and I believe the court ruled that was even an improper code section. It should have come under the state constitution. That was not brought under the Portsmouth City Charter, but there is a sort of a feeling in Portsmouth that you can recall at any time. It's almost like a parliamentary government, and it's not intended for that. They're very expensive.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Have anyone in the audience want to speak?
If there's anyone in the Zoom room who would like to speak to this bill, please raise your hand electronically now. Mr. Chair, there seems to be a few people who would like to speak.
Yes, please.
Gary Bahena, please unmute and begin your testimony now.
We got time. We in good shape.
Mr. Bahena, please unmute and begin your testimony now.
Thank you very much. I'm speaking this morning in opposition to this legislation. Mr. Stromberg, with whom I'm friends, is correct that in the end product that you have before you was an attempt, at least on its face, to align itself with the state code in terms of how you remove an elected official. However, it does not. There are a number of grounds in the state code for removing an elected official that the chief proponent in the city council chose not to include. And in addition, as you know, there's 2 ways that you can go about removing an elected official. There's the state code, and then some jurisdictions like Portsmouth have a charter provision. In our jurisdiction, in Hampton Roads, 2 other communities also have charter provisions. They allow, I believe, as low as 15% and 25, I think it's 10 and 15% to remove. Portsmouth has a 30%. These are absolute removal provisions. There's no grounds that need be asserted. They just give the citizens of the city a chance to say, in the case of Portsmouth, after somebody's been in office for 1 year, in the case of the other 2 jurisdictions, they can do it on day 1, that we made a mistake. That you're not going in the direction that we want to take this city, that you're doing something bad, and that we want to have you removed. It doesn't have to rise to the level of illegal as in the state code, but it still covers things that are illegal and not covered in the state code. And it can just cover misbehavior. This bill needs to be viewed in context of a council that also, last Monday, you passed on a charter provision to remove our non-interference clause in our charter to prevent individual council people from interfering in with the city manager's direction of her city staff. It's just part of and parcel of a move by our city council to insulate themselves from bad behavior. And we would ask you to please don't pass this. Thank you.
Sir, question for you. So, the speaker. So, what is it? I'm trying to figure out. Listen to what you're saying very carefully. So what did you propose the way that they would do it?
I would propose that we just say no and we stick with the provision that we have now. We've had. I know one of the other speakers will point out to you that we've only had 2 successful recalls in as far as anybody can remember in the history of Portsmouth with this provision, and it has served us well.
Sir, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
City Council unanimously passed this. And I'm here on behalf of City Council. There are some citizens who would like to have elections all the time, basically. That's what he's basically saying, that when 30% of the electorate is unhappy with no grounds whatsoever, basically, they can petition for a new election.
Okay.
And City Council, again, was unanimous in their vote to change its charter.
Thank you, sir. Another speaker, please.
Mark Gaduldig, please unmute and begin your testimony now.
Thank you. Can you hear me clearly, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, honorable members of the subcommittee and other interested parties. Mr. Stromberg, who's carrying the water on this bill, has been allowed to languish as interim city attorney for a year because of the dysfunctionality of the council that has submitted this request to you. I would say to you that 30% of the citizens who voted in the last gubernatorial election is no small portion of the electorate. Typically in recall efforts, that means somewhere upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 voters. And the largest turnout in municipal elections, or the largest number of votes cast, has been upward of 20,000. So that's nearly 50% of people voting. The other piece of it is that's just to get the wheels rolling. You don't have a recall election without crossing that threshold, but then you have the actual election. And it takes a majority of the people voting in the recall election to put the recall into effect. So in the history of Portsmouth, since the recall provision has been in effect, there have only been 2 successful recalls, despite attempts from time to time. So we are not talking about continuous elections. I submitted to you comments in writing. I hope they've made their way to you. I would just say that we have provisions that are workable, serviceable, already in the charter, and further tinkering is not necessary. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any more in the chat that want to speak?
If there's anyone else in the chat room who would like to speak, please raise your hand electronically now.
Or opposite, either way.
There does not appear to be any at this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to speak? Members of the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I just have
Yes,
a
sir.
question. So they get 30%, they have the number, they file that with the clerk of the circuit court. I'm assuming that the clerk of the circuit court reviews those signatures to make sure they have the 30% and signatures are genuine and they've checked it all and everything else. Is that correct?
The judge actually checks that. Yes, sir. Sir.
Can you point me to the bill where it says the judge actually reviews it currently? I see where you have in lines 39, 40, and 41 where in italicized they say that, but where does it say a judge of the circuit court reviews the petitions?
With that, are you speaking to our old charter?
I'm speaking of what's in the bill right now. Because this is what, everything that's italicized is new language. So in the existing code, I don't see, unless it's somewhere else in your charter. Oh, Mr. Chairman, I think I found it.
Yeah.
43 and 44.
Yes.
Sought to do not resign within 5 days after the sufficiency of the petition determined by a judge of the circuit court. Okay, I got it, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find it in the meeting.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I have just a question. The revised language for this list, the two reasons by which incumbent officials may be removed, but when I look at the Virginia Code, it has many more reasons on the basis of which a recall petition could be activated. Was there a reason why those other issues were taken out of this charter?
The way it was worded, I think that the other issues would be included in the present language. It just sort of gave a general review of those. It talks about neglect of duty, misuse of office, incompetence and performance, and then the other things listed would all be included in that upon conviction of a misdemeanor. It lists several misdemeanors, and I didn't get as specific with the misdemeanors. I just left it to the council if there's a misdemeanor that would affect someone's work or competence or so forth, because those could change in the future. So I just wanted to keep it general on the drafting. So it's up to the petitioners as to whether those misdemeanors would qualify for grounds of recall.
This language would then refer back to what's in the code and the specific issues of misdemeanor. And I see language involving hate crimes, sexual battery, and so forth. All of those will be covered under the language. Thank you.
Question from the committee?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Bell, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir. Please.
I don't know if it's best for council or for the gentleman at the podium, but the material adverse effect, which is in both items 1 and 2, is that the standard in the rest of the code for removal? Sorry, I'm not hearing anybody, so could you please speak up?
In the state code?
He was saying in the state code?
Can our council?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, that's the standard in 24.2-233.
Senator Bell, did you hear that?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Question? Anyone else in the chat room? Members, I want to get this out, but I think on this one, maybe we need to have them to come to the full committee when the time comes.
I would agree.
You would agree with that? But let's get it out, but then have them to come to the full committee, because when I report the vote to the full committee, they start asking me questions like they're asking you. I know what to tell them. So,
Interesting.
So,
will that be today's full committee, or will it be scheduled next week?
Next week. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Be operated by motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to report.
All right. Second, been proper move and second we report. Senate Bill 523, call the roll, please.
Senator Kiggins? Senator Hashmi? Senator Bell?
Aye.
Senator Reeves?
I'm a no till I hear a little bit more,
Senator Sproul?
Aye.
Ayes 3, noes 2.
Ayes 3, noes 2. Okay. You see what we got, sir? So on that one, Senate Bill 523, that will come before the full committee next week, and I'm supposed to be good for you to be here because to answer those questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Senator Bell. Hey, a question for council. You don't have to answer this now, but I think this would be good to bring to the full committee on this one. Approximately how many of the charters have this provision like this and how many don't? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Sir, sir, please, one question. Will you be here today for the full committee at 9 o'clock?
Yes, I will. I have another bill before.
Consent to lock 564?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, 3-2. Is that complete our agenda for the day? If so, our next meeting is 45 minutes from now, I believe. All right. Any other members having these questions? All minds clear? Then we adjourn. Thank you so much. Until 9 o'clock.